Hello. 2 days in a row. It's a miracle. Earthy Wise Woman here. I hope you guys are having a good new year. Because I gotta tell you the energy right now in the world is chaotic. I was gonna say off, but that's not the word. The word is chaotic. Sparkling water. Oh, anyway, um, I'm going to strongly suggest you try to get to a good place in your soul, in your home, and just meditate and try to envision yourself encircled with a beautiful blue ball of energy wrapped around you so you can somewhat, cocoon yourself from the chaos in the world. Because, sadly, but a necessary, we're going to have a lot more chaos. Because in order to put order in, chaos has to blow. And the only way to get the chaos out is to deal with the chaos. And if some of you guys, I'm not saying that right, but most of us, when we clean house, the house looks a lot more chaotic as we're cleaning it. But at the end of the day, after we're done dealing with all the chaos and cleaning, the house looks great. But first, we had to deal with the chaos. And that's the similar energy that's going on currently in our world. You've got a lot of chaos and a lot of cleaning house to do. And I do believe we're going to get that done. Now, onward and upward. First of all, I'm hearing that this is an important thing to say, so I'm going to say it right now. Please subscribe to my channel. It's a little one, it's a tiny one. I would like to make it bigger. I would like for it to grow. But I need your help, guys. So, before we get started on this video, push that subscribe button down below. Come on now. Anyway, please subscribe. I'm going to take off these progressive lens, as they call them. And I had in mind a different video for tonight, but someone in my comments from last night sent me a question. And I realized if one person is sending me that question, there must be at least 100 of you guys, or 1,000, or whatever amount of people I'm reaching who probably have the same question. So I'm going to read this question out loud. It says, I was wondering if we could talk about knowing if you're gifted. And you know something? We can talk about that. And we can talk about what it means and why. First of all, everyone is gifted. This is not like everyone gets a trophy in Little League. No. What I mean by that is we have all gifts. And, some of you are saying, Earthwise, well, how can you just say that? You don't know me. You don't know if we all got gifts. Yeah, I do. Yeah, I do. I'm going to tell you how I know that. I know that because you have lived in more than one life. Because Earthy Wise Woman knows that there is something called, not reincarnation. Some people say it's reincarnation, where you die and then you come back again and die and come back again. Or some people believe it's a continuation, where you never really die. And I'm more of the concept where you drop your body, but your existence continues on. So I'm going to really get into this. So let's go. You are gifted, and not just on a spiritual level. We are gifted on a mundane as well. But let's deal with the spiritual level, because there's a lot to be said about that. So here we go. A millennial, 2 millenniums ago, we didn't really speak using our mouths, or we spoke using our minds. We had the energy. Our third eye was wide open. Now, the Egyptians were aware of this, the Sumerians were aware of this, and they depicted artwork showing it as well as writing about it. And we were very gifted. So we did have the ability to speak with our minds. We did have the ability to move things with our minds as well. Um, I'm trying to get all the wording right. It's telepathy and forget the ones for moving with your mind, but we had the ability over the eons of time. We didn't lose the ability. We never lost the ability. I want to make that very clear. We forgot it. And most of us, when we come back to our path, walking our path as practitioners, gradually we regain the ability. We regain it, our third eye opens back up, and it's almost like wiping off the lens of a memory and remembering our gifts and our abilities because they have always been there. Okay? So, yes, you are gifted. And if you're wondering, well, if I'm so gifted, why can't I move this in my mind? If I'm so gifted, why can't I? Why can't I? Why can't I? Why can't you? Why can't you? And I'm going to tell you why you can't. Because you don't believe you can. You're not going to always get validation on your gifts. I'm here to tell you, you just aren't going to. I wish we lived in a world where if we can't smell it, touch it, see it, or hear it, we don't believe it. Unfortunately, we don't live in that world yet. And it's sad because our four senses, hear, taste, touch, all that, those are our very lowest base gifts. Those are the lowest ones. And I'm going to tell you why I say that. Because those are things that even animals can do. There's nothing to those gifts. We're born right out the chute knowing those are our gifts. The question you should ask yourself is, well, why are not the other ones online so acutely as these four? And the reason why they're not online so acutely as these four is we've been told over and over again those gifts don't exist. We've been told that, well, girl, please, we're dismissed. But I'm going to assure you, you are gifted. Now, it's not that you are or aren't. The question is, you want to know probably, well, what are my gifts? Now, I'm going to strongly tell everybody, please don't be going to somebody else asking them, what's my gift? Because you know something, you know what your gift is. Now, the question is not if you know you're gifted or not. The question is, are you going to demean your gifts? And what I mean by demean is dismiss it, put it down, just, oh, well, that's cute. Don't do that. Embrace it. Because here's the thing, think of your gift as a spark, one little piece of coal. Now, you can stoke that coal and put a little wood on it and start a fire. Or you can just leave that piece of coal right there and just kind of let it burn out. All gifts All gifts must be worked with, tutored on, tweaked on. So, how do we do that? Well, I am a tarot card reader. I knew I was a tarot card reader when I got my first deck when I was 11. It was one of the Yule gifts from my great grandmother, my grandmother, when she saw the spark in me. Now I did too, but I did not know how to home that energy. I was 11. What do you know a lot at 11, but knowing how to really home in on your energies and your gifts, sometimes it helps to have an adult when you're a child show you the way without saying anything. I'm adding that to it. So my grandmother didn't say anything. My first deck was the Rider Waite deck, and that's all she did. She just gave me the cards. And later I went up to her after, you know, we finished celebrating Yule, eating the turkey and all that, and probably about 2, 3 days later, and asked her, "What do I do with this, Grandma? You gave me these cards. What do I do with them?" And she's like, "Well, I could show you some spreads, but first I want you to look at every card in the deck and ask yourself, how does it speak to you? What does it say to you? What do you feel when you look at this card? What does it mean to you?" Now, I've got to tell you something. This was a very long process. Now, the reason why I say it was a long process, for anybody who's a tarot card reader, you know that there is 22 major arcana and there's like 56 minor arcana. There's a lot of looking, a lot of looking. And it literally took me about 2 months to truly start looking at the deck and start seeing into the deck more, reading through the deck more, getting insight, getting all kinds of things. Now, I finally went to my grandmother and asked her for more help in the insight. But then, as I had gotten older, I started doing readings for myself, which I want to tell you now I don't do. I don't read for myself. I do read for others, but not myself. But hey, I was the first person I had to start with. And then my grandma said, "Well, why don't you read for me?" And I was a little intimidated by that, but I did it. And as the years have gone on and they've gone on, I realized that now I can do a reading without the deck. I can just do a reading outright. Why? My gift was empathy. My gift is empathy. I'm an empath. Now, no one had to tell me, but after many years of reading tarot cards, um, after many years of reading bubbles in water, I even read pancakes. Yeah, I read pancakes. Um, I realized I was an empath. And then as I got a lot older and I started homing in on my skills, I would be near people and I would pick up their energy and I would burst into tears and I wasn't sad. And at that point I was like, "Grandma, I'm starting to cry and I'm not sad. What is going on here?" She never told me, "Well, you're an empath." She was like, "Why don't you look up this word? Or why don't you check and see how this person is doing? How are they feeling?" And gradually I realized, oh, I'm an empath. But Excuse me. I'm also an herbalist. I can sit down and I can mix an herb mixture for the full moon, or I can make an herb mixture for love, balance, healing, um, even to break hexes, or in some cases, two hex. What I'm trying to say is that is also one of my gifts. So, are you gifted? Yes, you are. You you are gifted. It is now your responsibility. Um, I guess that's the word, responsibility, to find out what you are gifted in, what you are gifted with. And you cannot let other people invalidate your gifts. And you're going to find a lot of people who will. They'll invalidate it. Invalidate it with, in some cases, good intentions. But invalidation is real. So if you are aware of that you are gifted, and by the way, everyone is, because we have lived with so many different incarnations. If you're not gifted, you're like a non-existent and dead in every level. And that's just not the case. We are all gifted, all of us. It's just our mission or whichever path walking to figure out in what way we are gifted. And then once we are realizing what it could be, to home, train, work with, train up, read up, and do what it takes to master our gifts as best we can. So, darling, listen, honey, listen to me. You don't need any validation from me. You are gifted, all right? But now here's the thing. Now that you are aware that you are gifted, what are you going to do with those gifts? What are you going to do with them? What are you going to use them for to help us? Us. Okay? Us. And what I mean by us is this. Everybody is interconnected with other people. We don't realize how strong the mental chain of connection is. COVID put it to the test. And what I mean by that is we were isolated and not mingling around other people. We almost went spiritually dormant in our world because we need each other. Now, we all would like to believe we don't, but we do. There is a cosmic mental hum, and we all do have that hum. We have it on different octaves, but we all have the hum, and we hum together. Hum, 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 hum. We hum together. And when we were separated, that was almost, for me, a painful experience because I missed the hum of people. Because even though we don't always walk and talk, talking to each other, we still have the ability to hum together. Forgive me, I'm just wanting to look at the gift of the question. The hum is very important. And One of the things that we as a collective being do is we mentally touch each other. Collective beings do this. We do. So we, because of that mental ability, innately we know our gift. Now, whether we believe ourselves, that's a different story. Unfortunately, we live in a world where we not just suppress our gifts, we deny them. But we all collectively know our gift. So I could tell you, I don't suggest to anybody to go to a person like me, I guess, a card reader, and ask them, what is my gift? I think, like I said earlier, turn inward and ask yourself, what is my gift? And then embrace it. Because no one knows your gift better than you. Or we can say you're this or you're that, but no one knows your gift better than you. No one. Believe that. Have confidence in that. Now, one way I can tell you some more mundane, practical ways to connect with the microcosm is tap your third eye. Turn it on. Turn it off. I just turned it off, but turn it on and allow. Allow the universe to show you in more elaboration what your gifts are. And never downplay them. I cook. And believe it or not, one of the most original of all gifts is kitchen witchery because it is so close to Mother Earth. When we cook, we are sustaining life, and that is a perk. To sustain life is a gift that many people have, and some are just better than others. Cooking is a gift. Sewing is a gift. I crochet. It's one of the ways I meditate is by crocheting. And it's one of the ways I homed in on the skill of completing the cycle of action. I started, I will finish it. And that is such a blessing. You are gifted. We are all gifted. Not all in the same way. Blessed be for that. Because we need the butcher, the baker, the candlestick maker. We need it all. Because all of them, in some way or another, helps the other. We are all a part of the hum. So, but remember, it is a gift. And I could get into that hum thing a lot more because it has a lot to do with sacred geometry. But the earth vibrates on a certain tone, I guess you could say. And sadly, we have polluted that. Some of the beautiful sounds of nature have become so polluted because of some of the things we choose to listen to or do that are not that pretty anymore. And I am now, this is my official rambling. Earthly Wise Woman likes to ramble. So here I go. Rambling time. When the 1970s ended and the 1980s began, there was a cosmic shift in a lot of things, including music. It became less poetic. It became faster. more intent on the beat. And that energy changed our rhythm in the world. Because think about it like this. In the 1820s and the 1840s, maybe music was a lot more artful. I mean, even prior to that, I mean, during the Baroque period, when we had people like not Beethoven, he was not a part of the Baroque, Bach, when we had that counterpointing and call and response, it was like the harmonies coming together to make this harmonic, beautiful music. And it was gorgeous. It's like you could have songs and you could hear the flowers grow or the animals run across the field. And now we have music, you know, that denote things like debauchery, uh, cannibalism, uh, music that denotes pedophilia. Nothing, none of that is beautiful. Um, Music that even denotes demasculation and disharmony, racism. All of this is in our music. So, how in the world can one find harmony in that? Then you must ask yourself, why is this happening? Why is our music turning from beautiful, harmonic sounds of undulation to more anger, hatred, bitterness, disharmony? Why? Why? What is it achieving by being like that? Things that make you go, that's all I'm saying. So, that being said, remember, I'm rambling. I made a decision probably about 4 years ago that I would stop listening to heavy metal. I used to love heavy metal. Don't understand. I mean, I was listening to Rammstein. I was listening to Disturbed. I was listening to all that stuff. I did. I listened to it a lot, and but I saw what it was doing to me. And I thought to myself, I'm gonna step back from this. I'm gonna start listening to Jim Croce. I'm gonna start listening to John Denver. I'm gonna start listening to Bob Dylan. I'm just gonna try this out for a while, see what happens. I'm gonna start listening to Joan Baez. I'm gonna start listening to Anne Murray. Now, the younger me looked at that and goes, "What the hell is wrong with you?" But I realized that by becoming more like that, I actually raised my tone level. I became a lot more in cause over my environment. I became less brain fog. I had clarity of thought. I saw the beauty in the world more. I wasn't so bitter. I wasn't angry. I wasn't resentful. I wasn't hatred. I became a lot more in control of my environment. Now that's just, from the change of my music. Seriously. Now don't misunderstand me. I still love Motown. I still listen to Motown. It's just that now I hear the beauty in it, not the anger. Um, Another thing, if you really want to find your gifts, stop watching television. Get off the grid of the mainstream media and get it more into yourself. You do not need to watch the news to be informed. I discovered this. And not only that, I realized when I stopped watching the news for about, I don't know, about 6 months, I stopped really, after about 3 weeks, I didn't want to watch the news anymore. And after about 3 months, I realized this is bullshit. Hell, they all saying the same damn thing in a different way. And this shit ain't even news. This is just rhetoric and bullshit. This is programming. And I was right. I've got to tell you, I've not watched mainstream news in about 3 years now. I've not watched it. I don't. I think it's poison for the mind. I will listen to talk radio. I would get the quote unquote, I guess you could say I get the high notes of the news. What do we used to call that? Oh yeah, I got the highlights. I don't need the details because guess what? The details is nothing but bullshit any damn way. They're not going to tell me nothing more so than what I've already know. If anything, what does the news do? Tell you how to think. Like I said, programming for the mind. Program your own damn mind. Don't give that to somebody else. Don't give that energy to anybody else. Like I said, step off the grid of the mainstream media and step into yourself. You'll be surprised what you know that you didn't even realize you knew. How are you going to hear the hum of the universe when you letting something else do the humming for you and you just popping your fingers to the beat? Find your own hum. Pop your fingers to your own beat. Because in that you will find some freedom. In that it will make you start questioning your world, questioning what they're telling you. Because as long as you're listening to what they're saying, you're on the grid. You just one of. Step off. Listen to your own. Listen to your own hum. Learn what your hum is. And then you're going to realize, I don't agree with that. Because you don't have to agree with anything you don't want to. There is freedom in that. But you have a responsibility. And your responsibility is to question things around you. Question. That's why Earthly Wise Woman always says, and I'm going to say it again today, question what you see and hear. Trust in what you feel. Because that's where the truth lies. Keep your third eye open and believe in what the universe is telling you and what you feel. Because yes, those are your gifts. Do not demean your gifts. Do not question your gift. Accept it. Train it. Home it. Tweak it. But above all, accept it. Yes, you are gifted. Everyone is. It is your responsibility, responsibility to learn what your gift is, and more importantly, to accept it, embrace it. And on that note, Earthy Wise Woman's going to go to bed. Earthy Wise Woman is going to finish his coffee. And I'm supposed to remind you because they keep telling me I need to do this. Subscribe to my channel. It's a little right now, but it'll grow. It'll grow. Blessed be to you all. And Happy New Year.